My vision be like if you close one eye and then half close the other one and blur it up a little bit, and you can imagine what that's like.
I have nothing at all this side. All I see is light, and on this side is what I call very pixelated, so everything's very dotty, and I can't see certain patches. There's patches missing.
I mean, sometimes when I'm looking at things, all I can say is if you're looking at a bright light and then you look away, can you imagine what that's like?
Well, I actually don't see anything apart from the fact that I appear to have a very bright white light in front of me, like as if I'm looking at a bright lamp or even looking at the sun.
Adam suffers from something called ocular albinism and nystagmus. This condition is in my family. My brother has the same condition. My mother's brother, my uncle, has the same condition.
They diagnosed with the uveitis.
I have an eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa, which basically means a pigment grows over the retina and blocks out the light receptive parts of, I believe they're called rods and cones.
I went to hospital. They told me that I'd had a major hemorrhage. The reason they think it's happened is caused by diabetes, and whether it's the control of the diabetes or not is a little bit misunderstood, I think.
I lost my sight 10 years ago. I fell pregnant with my daughter and I was very, very ill with preeclampsia. In the hospital I was doing a word puzzle, like the ones where you put in the letters in the boxes, and I suddenly couldn't read the letters at all and everything was blurry. So I was rushed down to the eye department and they found out that the start of diabetic retinopathy due to the pregnancy, the blood vessels had started to erupt at the back of my eye, and because I was pregnant with my daughter there was nothing they could do.
I don't think the modern world has a clue what people with disabilities go through.
I think sometimes the support's great, sometimes it's lacking, and it needs to be consistent around every hospital.
They just gave us no information at all, nothing. I had to find it all out for myself.
Some people are also given the diagnosis that they are losing their sight by the consultant, and I've been told that they're just left and they just go off. They don't realise what they can do, how they can support themselves.
Very quickly I was told, you're going blind, there's no treatment, there's no cure. You shouldn't have to come to hospital very often.
It's like when they told me, instead of just sending us home, I would have liked somebody to have said, right, if you could wait outside here, sat us back in the waiting room, then somebody to come and got us and taken us somewhere and sat and spoken to us about it and given us information on what we could have done and where we could have gone for more information.
He just wouldn't. He said to me, whilst there's still treatment available, he said, I cannot class you as visually impaired. You were in no man's land, and you felt that the person that was supposed to be helping me the most wasn't giving me the help that I needed. You know, on a medical side he was, but on the other side he wasn't.
Well, because I was registered blind, you automatically get the call. As soon as you register, you get a call from social services, which is why registering is so important. And then what they do is they do an initial visit and they assess what you need, what your adaptations are needed at home, if there is any. You know, they will be there, but it's the registering that's important. If you register, you get the visit.
And when I went in July, he said to me, I don't think there's any more treatment we can give you. I'll now give you a certificate.
Well, communication in various ways I think is quite important.
Labels on prescriptions are always too small, and they're always in white and black, or white and like pale blue. Perhaps they should be yellow and black, because yellow and black is a good contrast for vision impaired people. When the chemist gives you different medicines, they're the same medicines but they've used a different brand. So it'd be nice for consistency of boxes when they give you things, because I go a lot by colour or by the shape of a box. So that's one thing that probably should be borne into mind when giving vision impaired customers any sort of medicine.
Certainly some support emotionally, counselling support to people who are newly registered and things, I think would be a very good thing.
General life is the hardest aspect, because everything you try to do is a struggle. It's a frustrating feeling that you can't do what you used to do.
I no longer worked because I had to give up the work I did.
I was made redundant on the spot, which was a bit of a shock to me.
I found myself very isolated, very lonely, and I did start to get quite miserable.
It's had a lot of impact on my life. I mean, the children, they were devastated, and my husband, wow, he's my rock. He really is.
Mostly it doesn't actually bother him, and he's a very happy, well-adjusted little boy. But now and then it still hits me that, you know, that he's got it. But most of the time we're a happy family that do normal, happy family things.
People think that because you can't see, because they feel that if they close their eyes they can't do it, they feel that you can't do it. But you've got to find ways around things.
I have a little Hoover. It does it on its own. It's a little robotic Hoover. He's very good.
I've got talking kitchen scales, I've got talking bathroom scales, I've got a talking computer, well, a screen reader on the computer, I've got a talking watch.
On the cooker I've got some little, what they call bumps, to identify whether the cooker is still switched on or switched off. And I've also got a little gadget that goes on the side of a cup. That's strange. I don't think it's going to go off. I mean, the battery's gone. Normally it would ring and vibrates against the cup like that to tell you that it's full up.
Adam has a laptop for use in school, and it's wirelessly linked to the interactive whiteboard that the teacher uses, so that anything that the teacher puts up on the whiteboard will be replicated on the screen, which he can have on his lap.
The computer program that I've got is brilliant, because obviously I can use that without anybody's assistance. I'll show you how it works. It's really clever.
Email menu. Press 1 to retrieve your new email. 129 November
I'm
2012
popular, look.
at
I've got loads of
18:30.
emails.
Reply to this email on Thursday.
Without this, I'll be stuck, so I wouldn't be able to contact any of my friends.
HF. Please, goodbye.
It's very, very costly. I think it was about £1,000 to buy. So if you're not working or you're at home alone, it's quite a big expense for somebody. So they might not be able to get that type of program.
What we did back in the early 90s was, because my earning capacity had gone through the floor, Sue, who was a qualified teacher, went back teaching full-time, and I looked after the kids at the time. We swapped positions. I became a house husband.
Personally, I've been looking for a job. I've been to the job centre, I've had assessments, but they haven't once asked me for a CV. So I don't know how they could get me a job if they don't know what I'm capable of doing.
And I feel like housewives feel that I got to ask Sue if I want to buy something, whereas wives at home do that with their husbands, and it's the other way round for me.
My husband works, so we're very lucky. He's busy, and but I would like to work, so That's why I'm looking for the job. I've never been, before I lost my sight, I was never unemployed. I always worked. So it was quite a shock to not have to, not be able to work. So that's why I'm keen to get back into work. I'm keen to get back into the workplace and find my role in society again.
I work for Sainsbury's in Chippenham. I need to do what everybody else does and fulfil their bit in life. But because I was having to leave home 2 hours before I started work to actually get to work on time, and then it was taking me 2 hours to get back home again in the morning, so I was effectively doing a 14-hour night. And that was proving to be a bit too much. And I discovered a thing called Access to Work. So I applied to them, and now they pay me taxi fares to and from for 4 nights a week. It's kept me in work, yes, because I was getting to the stage where I was getting so tired that I was thinking of having to give up anyway. And but by doing that, it's enabled me to carry on working for as long as I have.
I mean, a lot of us drive a lot of miles to get to work and drive within our jobs. Well, all those kind of jobs would be out for Adam. But no, I think he's a bright child, and I think he'll do well at school, and I think he'll do okay in life. But it does, obviously, as a mother, it does worry me. I try not to think about it too much because it's a long way off.
I'm very capable of doing the job I'm doing for Guide Dogs, which is running a branch, fundraising campaigns. So I'm looking for jobs in that type of role. And this is some money that I collected at the weekend from little money pots. And then I have to put it in piles. So this takes me ages. So far we've raised enough money to get 2 puppies, so which is really good, which is £10,000. And we're now on our 3rd puppy. So we're doing quite well. I always find it hard between a 10 and a 2p because they're quite similar size. And sometimes if you get a really dirty 10p, it looks like a 2p. So I find I've got them on the wrong piles. I haven't hidden the fact that I'm visually impaired on any of my application forms, because I think as soon as you go to the interview it's pretty clear that I'm visually impaired because I walk in with a guide dog, so I'd rather people be aware before I go for the job. So whether that's holding me back from getting a job, I don't know. But I'm not giving up and we'll keep trying.
Ever since Dale left school, I've never claimed any benefits of any kind. And I don't really want to start now. But ideally I would like to cut back a little bit on my work to help with the strain on my eyes. And but if I could get enough funding for that, then that would be good. But at the moment I've still got to carry on.
I had to fill in a disability form a little while ago for my DLA, my disability living allowance. This is where I get very uptight and I find it hard to speak, because I had to fill in, and no joke, it was a big form and it took a very long time to do.
Well, what you really need is a form specific to your disability, rather than a general form that sort of says, can you walk 10 paces and can you do this and can you do that, which you can because you're blind, you haven't got your leg off. But you have to fill it out in entirety. You have to answer every question positively or negatively. And I say probably 80 to 90% is irrelevant to your case.
3 attempts later, after I'd been refused, Action for the Blind came, and they eventually managed to get me my DLA, and then I was on ESA, which is Employment and Support Allowance, and oh boy, what a nightmare. One woman actually was so rude to me on the phone. She said to me, just because you have MS and you're partially sighted doesn't mean you can't get off your backside and get yourself a job. And I said to her, I'd love to swap places with you. I'd love to be as healthy as you. I said, but I wouldn't wish my illness on you for anything in the world.
I get disability living allowance, so our finances really rely on Sue. I feel most of the people I know who are claiming benefits really need them. Obviously there are people who swing the lead, we all know them. But there are people suffering with great difficulties and doing their best. And to label them as scroungers and catch pennies is socially wrong. It's not correct at all.
It's a mere pittance. Your wages and everything stay the same, but the bills and everything go up. So, no, it's not enough.
I don't know whether I'm going to get the same amount in benefits as what I'm earning so that I can maintain the standard of life that we're living. We don't live a high standard of life, but I just need to be able to keep the standard that we've got.
This is called, I believe, a Sam Brown, which is a guide dog supply this. I also have got a reflective jacket, which I wear sometimes. So I go between the two. Right, Luca. Come here then. See here? There he is. Right. There we are. You're going to be very famous after this, Luca. Just under his tummy there. This I carry with a few tidbits in, a couple of bags in case he needs to do anything. He doesn't do it. I've never had to do it yet, but I still carry the bags. Right, there we are. Good boy. Right, Luca. We're going walking.
Everything you try to do is a struggle. Just walking down to the town or to the shops, because you have obstacles that you can't see, such as pieces of branch on the pavement, potholes in the pavement, uneven pavements, flagstones sticking up, all sorts of things like that. And you need to use the long stick to be able to feel your way around, but there are still obstacles that even that doesn't find and you can't see. And also you have things like bicycles, people running, and they're not aware that you can't see them. And even carrying a white stick, they don't appreciate that you are blind. They don't take any notice of it, some people. Most people are pretty good, but you do get those problems.
Getting out and about was essential, but it was only for essential purposes. Mary, come on! Because I was registered blind straight away, I was also put onto the social services hearing and vision team, which was brilliant. They helped me and they taught me how to use the cane and things, which meant I was relatively mobile. But I found going out quite hard, because although I used a cane, I never felt confident using it. I felt people stared at me. The final straw was fall at my daughter's school. I was going down some steps, and at the school I didn't see them, and I just fell down the steps, and it's 4 flights. And I really badly damaged my arm, and that was it. I really lost my confidence. I did start to get quite lonely and quite isolated, which isn't me. I'm quite a motivated and lively person. So I started to lose part of myself, and that's why I wanted to go further and get a guide dog. Wait. Go, Mary, sit. Good girl.
I still try to go out as much as I can and as often as I can. In the future, it's a possibility that I might need a guide dog. a dog relies on you to give it the signals for crossing roads and things like that. Whilst I can see a little bit, you be working for the dog and not the dog working for you. So until I'm sort of ready, I haven't applied for one. Where I get the most difficulty is like coming to a road like that and you can't see the cars coming at you, and then when you like come across and you've got an uneven piece of ground like this and it makes life quite difficult. You can feel that that's uneven, but you can't necessarily pick out that that bit there is going to dig in, but there's still a chance that you're going to catch your foot on it because it's quite a wide area, and you can't see where you're going to fall. The only other problem is if I go down to town, I know so many people that everybody be stopping to talk. Bit apprehensive of crossing a road because the speed of which some of the cars come down through on the main road, you could have 2 or 3 in a row, and the bigger problem now is some of the hybrid cars which you can't hear. Because I don't want it to stop me from doing the things that I want to do when I want to do them. The only thing is you are tied into bus timetables and things like that.
The fact that he'll never drive means that he has to use public transport. And in talking to my brother, the issues are things like seeing the number on the front of a bus is quite difficult. Reading train timetables, they're always in minute print. So there will be issues. I mean, at the moment, Mummy drives him everywhere in the car. But I'm hoping that he will be able to be very independent with the right help.
My confidence is definitely back, but things are always hard. It's not easy to get out and about. Like we say, bus travel is quite difficult sometimes, train travel is quite difficult. If I go to a new place, I need to ask somebody to take me there because Mary isn't aware of where we're going. So although I've got the flexibility at home, because I know the area, I can't get out and about as much as I would like sometimes. Well done, good girl. Find the bus. There's a few major concerns that I've got when I've been out and about, and one of them is the pavements. A lot of paving slabs which are raised, they're not very well maintained, and I actually had a really bad fall the other day because one of the paving slabs was actually quite raised up where it started to come away. These things, you know, are quite simple to change, but we notice them because we can't see, so we're going to trip over them.
Forward then, Luca. Good boy. Go on then. Fine right. Fine right, Luca. Fine right. Go on then. Fine right. Fine right. Good boy. I know, well, I certainly know the roads around here. The pavements are very rusted and not very level at all. And they can, you know, make things quite difficult. But after a while, of course, you get used to where the problems are, so you either avoid them in some way or cope with it in some way. You certainly have to pick your feet up. You can't shuffle along. Bins, of course, is a one-day thing, but it is quite difficult on that one day because the bin men seem to just abandon them halfway across the pavement. Good boy. The dog walks from tactile stones to tactile stones. Right, forward then, Luca. The crossings have got tactile stones on the end of them, and therefore I'm sort of able to use them. When a road layout changes, then I need to know either through guide dogs or RNIB or the Wiltshire Blind Association that it has changed. Otherwise, I am not aware of it, and I have been knocked over. A new entrance had been created to a new residential area, and I was unaware. To me, it was still a pavement which was perfectly safe, and a vehicle crossed my path. And I basically stopped, but as the van came at an angle and the back of it came and sort of hit me because it was at an angle. and I fell on the ground, and well, it could have run over me, but it didn't run over me. I was very lucky. It could have been disastrous. And sit.
I still depend on my mum and dad and my husband for getting me further away, or if I need to go shopping and things like that, because shopping is quite difficult. Obviously, when you're buying big shops, it's hard to find certain items in the shop without having somebody there to help you buy it. Cash points to me are a no-no, can't use them. But I know the RNIB have got a campaign at the moment for talking cash machines, and they've already got some in motion where you put your headphones in and they actually talk, which is a brilliant idea, and I think every bank should take that on board.
I like to get about on my own and do my own thing. I don't like to bother my wife about it. She does her thing, and I get out as much as I can. See friends, go to meetings. I'm very independent.
I'm a member of the Wiltshire Blind Association, and I meet up with them every second Thursday of the month. We have a coffee morning in Chippenham.
I do have quite a busy social life, really, and yeah, I like to join any group that's involved with visually impaired people just to improve the services and to get out there as much as I can. I also help with a blind choir, which is designed just for people with visual impairments, every Friday, and I sing in that. I think it's nice for people to be together because sight loss brings a lot of loneliness, it brings a lot of isolation for a lot of people, and if we can help groups such as the blind choir, such as guide dogs, where people are getting together and actually doing something together, then we've done something good. It's getting people out of their homes, it's getting people involved with something, and they're hopefully enjoying themselves at the same time.
The first Wednesday of the month is the book club meeting, and they could supply me with the books on disc or tape, and I find the discussions interesting. Hello, Brenda.
I was at an all-time low. I'd not long been diagnosed when I joined the craft club at the Nursteed Centre in Devizes, and I've had lots of people helping me and encouraging me, and it has been my lifeline.
I use organisations such as the RNIB and Guide Dogs and Wiltshire Blind and all those sort of things to deal with items, and they're all sort of very useful, particularly the RNIB.
The Friday Club, we go and we do all sorts of different crafts. There's lots of people with different disabilities there. They make you laugh. You can laugh with them. You can cry with them. They know your secrets. They share your soul. They know your good points. They know your bad points. They know when you're hurting. They know when you're laughing. They know when you're crying, because they know your disability, because they have that disability too. So they know exactly what you're going through.
It was very page-turning. I have started the book, but I haven't actually finished it.
Who read it, John? Do you know who the actor was that read it? Was it an North?
I
must
do,
have
but
been
I
a North
can't
Country.
remember.
Okay.
Was it a man?
It's a man, yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't him himself.
I don't like, I would say, wallowing in with everyone else, having sort of a moan about the same thing. I like to get out and about to other people. I don't terribly, apart from the blind sailing, I don't terribly get involved with the blind community, because I feel it's looking inwards rather than outwards.
He plays rugby, believe it or not. He's not involved in anything at the moment specifically for the visually impaired. We are going on our first trip organised by the visual impairment team at Christmas. There's a trip to the pantomime, which he's really looking forward to. I'm quite looking forward to going on the pantomime trip, just to meet other mums, maybe other parents with children with similar conditions, and just kind of exchange experiences. And is there anything at school that you find particularly tough?
Yes, when I get bumped in.
When you get bumped into?
Yeah.
Is that just in the playground?
Yes.
Yeah. The school have been great. Adam is now statemented with the help of the vision impairment team, which means he gets 20 hours of teaching assistant time a week, which is absolutely plenty for what he needs. I do think about what will happen to him in the future. I'm very lucky in that I've got a brother and an uncle with the same condition that have made very good lives for themselves. They've got good jobs, they're married. So I think it's great role models for Adam. Adam can look at them and say, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
In general, we always find a way around things. And if we find something in life that we can do, we do it. If we can't do it, then we can't do it, and we move on to something else.
And I used to want a lot of things from life. But now I'm happy if I can get from A to B without causing an upset. And if I can get that little bit further, then I'll do it with a smile. I'm quite happy then.
I can't see anything holding him back, to be honest. We treat him as much as possible like our other two sons. And I would hope that that would give him the confidence to think that he can do anything he wants to do.
I suppose every person who's blind wishes they could see, but that's a sort of vain hope, really. I would say the wish would be rather that I'd be able to deal with the situation as it is, and not get too frustrated or bothered about it, and sort of accept the fact there are some things I can't do and just let other people do it. And try not to get too frustrated.